common with IBM is that they run workshops.
And what we find is that we get very wide-ranging charities within the workshops, anything from one-man bands to all the way to maybe 20 or 30 people, all looking to develop skills in areas where to formally go and get training for those skills would be far too expensive and actually blow their budget. And that's why the work we're doing with the Small Charities Coalition, I think, is very, very significant, because for a small amount of money, these charities can build some really significant skills based on the IBM processes and IBM expertise that we have, which we've been doing for decades with our large corporate clients, which can be scaled down to smaller organizations like the small charities.
Hi, this is Piyush Vyas from Star Personality and you're watching Pooja Piyush Talk. Today we have Mr. Himanshu Anil Shah from IBM, the European Technical Manager with us. How are you, Himanshu?
I'm very well, thank you, Piyush. Yes, how are you?
So nice to see you here on our show.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Well, today here a lot of people are going to watch us and they want to listen to you a lot.
Okay.
About a lot of personality development questions and a lot of things about focus and communication skills.
Okay.
So my first question to you is that what recommendations do you have for personality development?
Okay, I mean, first of all, there are many things that people have to concentrate about, whether it comes to professional certification, professional qualifications like degrees, but one of the things that people genuinely forget is that 80% of your communication is non-verbal.
Non-verbal.
And therefore it's very important to understand that concept. And therefore it's also very important to understand what personal skills you have as well.
Okay.
It's all very well having industry skills or technical skills or product skills, but having personal skills, being able to talk to somebody and convince them, being able to sell yourself to somebody, to have confidence with them, that is something that is very different, and it's only learned over time.
Do you mean interpersonal skills?
Interpersonal skills is part of it, but there are also other skills that you have to learn.
Right.
So for example, using your hands to explain yourself, that is very important as well to do.
So kind of body language.
Very much so, and I've presented to a number of Indian universities where I've created this concept that I call CRISP, which is really focusing very much on what we refer to as personal skills. So when I talk about CRISP, if you take each of those letters, I've converted each of those letters into very specific personal skills or personal traits that people should focus on and think about when they're trying to develop their career, when they're trying to develop their personality, and when they're trying to develop their confidence, because those three elements are very important. So when we look at CRISP, the first thing is communication skills. So it depends, you have to understand your market, you have to understand who you're speaking to. If you're trying to get a job in the UK, then you have to take time to understand UK English. So communication skills is very important, but communication is not just about how you speak and how you write. As you say, it's interpersonal skills as well. Communication skills is very important. What you also do with communication skills is when people get nervous, they tend to speak very fast. So you must always try and keep yourself in check. Because the faster you speak, the more there is a chance that your brain won't keep up with you, and you'll use the wrong words, or you will speak gibberish. So you have to take your time and speak slowly, be confident in what you're talking about, and if you don't understand something, never be afraid to say, I don't know. Or never be afraid to ask a question of why or how.
You should have courage to confess also.
Absolutely. Have the confidence to say when you don't know something, you don't know. When I was at university many, many years ago, one of my professors taught me a very important lesson. And that was, if you're in a classroom and they say something to you and you don't understand, if you don't ask the question, you'll be a fool forever. If you ask the question, you can only ever be a fool once. But you can be sure that there'll be other students that will be listening to that answer. So communication skills is very important. The R of CRISP is resume, or you may call it CV. Some people call it CV, curriculum vitae. Some people call it resume. You must make sure that your resume is to the point. especially today, in an environment where when you apply for a job, there's going to be at least 100 or 200 people applying for the same job.
Right.
That means when the person and the manager hiring you, they're going to spend a maximum of maybe 2 or 3 minutes to read your CV
True.
and your resume.
True.
So it's very important that you put the important points at the front. You summarize what Americans would call a mission statement, but what I would call a value statement for why you are valuable. What are your key valuable points?
Core points.
Core points, but
Right.
more what you bring to the table. What is your uniqueness, shall we say, or your key benefits that you bring?
Right.
So the resume is very important, because that's only going to be spent maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then that's it. They'll say yes or no. And
It'll judge it in a few minutes.
That's right. I mean, the objective of a good resume is maximum 2 sides of a paper.
Right.
Maximum focus is on the last maybe couple of jobs maximum, but also spend some time on explaining your personal beliefs, your personal hobbies, your personal interests as well. But maximum 2 pages.
Right.
If you do any more, they won't read past it.
True.
And that's the important, especially in the India market, where you have so many people with such a large population going for so many professional jobs, and also so many graduates every year from all your universities there. So resume is very important. The I is for interview skill.
Okay.
And really more about the skill, but also the practice. So if you're going to go for an interview, make sure you look at YouTube. There are plenty of examples of good interviews and bad interviews. Okay,
Right.
Some of them are jokes and funnies, some of them are very good, but it's very important to practice the interview. Think to yourself what type of difficult questions the employer is going to ask you.
Okay.
And think to yourself, how am I going to answer it? And then practice answering it with a friend or with a relative or whatever. Judge the time that you're going to take in the interview. Because if somebody asks you a question and they call you for an interview, they want to know things quickly. If they ask a question and you spend 10 minutes answering one question because you've been rambling rather than answering the question,
Right.
you won't have time to answer the other important questions.
So it should be short and simple and point to point.
The important point is listen to the question,
Okay.
then answer the question. Too many people fly off at a tangent.
Okay.
And another great saying I have is that God has given you 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yeah.
So you should be listening 66% of the time and speaking 33% of the time.
Right.
But a lot of people get nervous.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have the
They do it
confidence.
reverse.
And they start speaking more and more and more.
Yeah.
And they don't listen to the question.
Right.
And then they get nervous because they realize they've not answered the question, and then they start babbling. So it gets really, really challenging for them, and they put themselves into a pickle as they're trying to do it. So that's the I of the crisp.
Okay.
The S is a very important thing. It's what I refer to as social profile.
Social profile.
Now, what I mean by social profile is everybody has Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, whether it be Facebook, Instagram. It's important to be aware that when you go and put your your resume in, the first thing the employer is going to do is to type your name on Google.
Right.
And if they find stupid pictures of you on Facebook or information about you being an idiot or whatever, they're not going to hire you.
True.
So it is very important, extremely important, to have a professional social profile and a private social profile.
It should not be mixed.
Absolutely not. And you must make sure your private social profile is only available and visible to people you trust.
Right.
Like Facebook can be locked to only friends or only family or whatever, but that should be locked. So if somebody types your name in, you should be able to only see your professional profile. Now that is very important, because one of the best professional profile social community is called LinkedIn.
Okay,
It's
LinkedIn.
very much a business profile.
Business profile, yeah, sure.
But it has grown tremendously over the last 4 or 5 years, in the sense that now you have companies looking at that to look for new employees.
Oh.
And to look at the profile.
Right.
You can publish your CV on there. You can blog on there with regard to your skills or your information. So it is very important to separate the personal to the business, and also if you're going to go in any form of professional job, even while you're doing a degree, for example, create a LinkedIn profile immediately.
Okay.
Because that straight away gives you presence in the business arena. You can start then linking with other people who then link to other people and give you more links. but it gives you a way of promoting yourself early before you're even looking for a job. So that makes it much easier. And LinkedIn is very big in India now. Very big. I get so many requests to become linked to people in India because of the work I've done in India. I get at least maybe 2 or 3 requests a week.
Oh, that's great.
So I've got over about 3,000 links now worldwide on LinkedIn. Now that doesn't mean I know every single one of them, but it does mean that if I make a comment or they make a comment, I can see what's going on. Well, because people will judge you by what you say. So the other thing I'd also say in the social profile side is whenever you say anything on the social media that's available or accessible to anybody, is always think twice before you send something. So if you want to write it, by all means write it. But if you're really emotional, don't press the send button. Wait a few hours, go back and read it again, and see if you need to change it, and then press the send button. Because if you send something on the public domain full of emotion, you could not only damage your own reputation, but you could damage other people's as well.
It can be the part of criticism also.
People will criticize you, but people will judge you by it, and that's the important thing.
Judge your character, judge your thoughts.
Absolutely, judge your behavior and so on. And that is really what setting your own character and confidence and personality is all about.
What does the P stands for?
So the final one is really to promote yourself. How do you sell yourself? When you take all those other elements that we've looked at, they all combine into how you're promoting yourself. And when I say promoting, I don't mean going from a better job to a better job. I mean, how are you selling yourself? What are your key values? What are you selling? How are you better than anybody else? So make sure that you behave in a professional manner whenever you come across anybody that's in a business environment. If you go to an interview and you don't get a job, be polite enough to say, thank you very much for giving me an interview, and leaving the room quietly so that you said thank you. Going in the room and saying, okay, I don't care about this job, and walking out. They will say something on your profile, or they will say something on the business profile that may haunt you forever. So always promote yourself to be the person you are. And again, a very simple rule, treat people the way you'd like to be treated yourself.
So what you give, you get the same?
Well, yes, to a certain extent, absolutely. But you have to bear in mind that the people you're talking to are people that have already got a job, they've already got a career, so they're already okay, they've got nothing to lose. If anything, they could be a good advocate for you. I know many situations where people have interviewed somebody and they thought they were really good, but they haven't got the position to offer them now, but they've kept their information because they've been polite, they've been confident, they've been very vital for them with regard to the interview, and they've contacted them a few months later to get a job with them. Whereas if you go back and out of the interview in a negative fashion, nobody's going to contact you afterwards.
Okay, so the CRISP means a lot if you elaborate and understand.
Yes, it covers a lot of different things, which focuses on personal skills.
Okay, nice. So it was a nice answer from you. Nice to know more things about the CRISP.